Kelly Vaughn, and welcome to Inside Indy. And today we're going to be talking about domestic violence. And of course, you heard in the news recently, President Donald Trump said that he is totally opposed to domestic violence. He also suggested that he shouldn't have to say so. Here to say a few things about what he had to say and beyond on the issue of domestic violence is Jackie Bowman Ponder. And Jackie is the president of the board of Beacon of Hope Crisis Center here in Indianapolis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for inviting me.
Welcome back, actually.
Yes.
The Oz has spoken. He has said that he's totally opposed to domestic violence. So what was your reaction to that?
Well, he's come out in support of programs, but he's also made other statements that make people wonder about where his what he really thinks about it. And I think that, you know, without trying to psychoanalyze where he's coming from, he talked about the Me Too movement, you know, which is encouraging and empowering women to speak up when they've been the victim of a sexual assault, sexual harassment, and some of his White House staffers have been caught up in what people have said. This is part of the Me Too movement. People are finally standing up and saying, so-and-so has a problem, so-and-so has a problem. And most those men are saying they didn't do it. And so one of his latest statements was that that movement has and can ruin people's lives because of false allegations. So that's definitely caused a backlash.
Okay.
And seems at odds with his statement that he is against domestic violence. Okay. I think they can be married, those two statements.
Do you think the statement now is a result of realizing that sometimes you say things, it's
Right.
like, that didn't sound so well. It may not necessarily be what I mean, but
Right.
yeah.
I think that, you know, we as an organization that is supported by federal funding and state funding have received tremendous support from the government agencies. And we have not had our funding reduced. You know, and the people that work with us there, specifically ICADV, DVN, the violence victim of criminal acts.
Okay.
They've been incredibly supportive and helpful.
Okay.
So I do believe that the people that are in place that are here to help victims of sexual assault and domestic violence are very committed, and they're working hard to end this problem.
You know, it's interesting though, when you're saying a part of what the president was saying, or even the people around him, is this issue of that sometimes we should react after we find out whether the allegations are true or they are just allegations. And I guess part of me feels that's a very dangerous.
It is. It's
kind of
hard.
almost like blaming the victim sometimes, even
It
though
is.
sometimes the victim does not tell the truth.
Yeah, the victim isn't the victim. Well, you know, we live in a society in which the accused is innocent until proven guilty. And that seems at odds with immediately supporting anyone who makes allegations. But I think that too can be reconciled. You can't blame the victim. You can't come out and totally condemn the accused. You have to wait and listen to both sides. I think just allowing both sides to be heard doesn't blame the victim. Okay. But I think that we cannot immediately assume that she's or he, because there are men who are victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. The statistics show 1 in 3 women will be raped in their lifetime, and 1 in 33 men will be raped. So you can be sexually harassed, assaulted, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation. They have to be heard and they have to be listened to, and we have to provide a system and tools for people who are in those situations to be able to come forward and get relief, to get protection.
Okay. Okay. You know, the Me Too, and then there's the Time's Up.
Time's
The
Up,
thumbs
yes.
up. That's me, thumbs up. But it's
There you go.
Time's Up. So how are they one and the same in terms of their message, or are they different?
They are different. One thing that I think is interesting, when you look at this, is the Me Too movement was actually started in 2007 to empower, mainly that the original movement was started to empower women in lower income or disenfranchised areas to have support.
Okay.
It became a viral hashtag just this last year or so. Alyssa Milano tweeted out, "Hey, I had a suggestion from a friend that we reply, me too, if you have also been a victim." And, you know, you had Lady Gaga, you had all these celebrities that came out and said, "Hey, me too, me too." Reese Witherspoon, who is one of the founders of the Time's Up movement.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I've seen her.
So
that. Yes.
what the Me Too movement has become about, or is started out and become, is an empowerment of women who have been the victims of sexual harassment, whether in the workplace or otherwise, to come forward and say this isn't right, and for everyone to understand that there needs to be full respect and understanding between people, regardless of their gender, the power structure. Time's Up movement is about equal pay. That women, the gender equality in pay.
Okay. 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 Wow. And there's so many thoughts about all of this, but I guess with the Me Too component, that Me Too, what's interesting is this has been focused on people in Hollywood and the stars who, you know, were dealing with these men who use their power and abuse their power. But to me, and maybe that's what they're saying, Me Too, and I'm going, wait a minute, this didn't just happen in Hollywood. And how do you define sexual harassment? We always think of it as like it having to do with the job. But to me, I can think of relationships in the past when I was a young woman that I feel like the way the guy handled the relationship, first of all, just lying. Why we have to lie? Being manipulative to get what you want, to get to my body, knowing full well you don't mean any of it. That goes on all the time when I think about family members who have children now because they were in a relationship with somebody who never meant to be in it. And so, but to me, those things are hurting our country as well as the big Hollywood stuff, the manipulation that goes on, or the mistreatment of women that comes in what people would think of subtle ways. Well, that's just a relationship. No, why are you doing it that way? And I'm not saying that every guy does it that way, and I'm sure women dog out men, but to me, that's a form of it too, that's taking place.
Well, I think the one thing that's been great about the Hollywood movement, or the embracing of the Me Too movement, is that for every Harvey Weinstein there is out there, there's 100 Joe Blows that are doing the same thing. But it has made it a discussion topic. It has made it the subject of, boardrooms are having to look at this. Every industry is being affected. I'm a lawyer for a company, and I'm getting emails and blogs all the time about review your policies on sexual harassment, redo your training for sexual harassment of your managers. Make sure everybody understands what the steps are to report. Make sure everyone feels comfortable with what they're doing. It's just like what I told all of our employees at a company meeting. Look, you're here to do a job. Come here, do the job, and go home. This isn't a place for you to have your time for dirty jokes or, talking about other people or disparaging even people that we don't have a personal relationship with, but talking about people on the TV programs or stuff
Right.
at work. If it's not something that brings harmony and benefit and a work-oriented atmosphere, it doesn't belong there. Everybody needs to feel comfortable where they are and the rest of that needs to be put aside. And I think that's one thing that the embracing of this movement has done, is help it become a discussion topic. It's kind of like what we were talking about, a couple years ago when you brought me on and we talked about the whole Ray Rice incident and the NFL. It made domestic violence a discussion topic on the evening news. And anytime there's light shed on darkness, then the truth can come out.
Okay. And I want just a side note to that whole situation with the football players, and it's kind of a little off the subject, but the kneeling issue and whether to kneel or not to kneel. And I was really for that initially because of the violence against black men. And then somebody pointed out and said, well, these NFL players, what about domestic violence? And I thought, they're right. There are more women who are beaten down every day on so many levels, whether it's rape, abuse. And I don't want anything to happen to any black man or any man for that matter. But when you think about the numbers of black people who are victimized compared to women, black and white and yellow and green, that's who you kneel for. How come the kneeling didn't happen for us before it happened for that? Anyway, that's another. But that's the way I feel about it, because that's just my take on that. So you say Time's Up is more about equal pay.
Yes.
So I read, on Facebook, everybody's got something bad to say, nasty on Facebook. Well, you can't do the stuff that we do. You can't lift the things that we do. What do you say to people who feel that way, that we don't deserve equal pay because they're stronger than us? That's what they're saying, basically.
Well, it just depends. If I'm an accountant, it doesn't matter whether you can lift 100 pounds and I can't, okay? If I am working and as a firefighter, for instance, I have to be able to lift a certain amount. And I think in the Time's Up movement doesn't say that there should be different qualifications for men and women. If it's a requirement of the job, the women need to be able to do that job. What this is about is if you have two people doing the same job, they need to be paid the same thing. The reason that Hollywood came up with it, I think it was, I know Oprah, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, I think. I don't know who all of them are, but you'd have people in the same sitcom or people on the same news program who are paid different amounts for doing the same job.
That happened to me in radio, actually.
So
and I brought it up, and they took care of it. They really did. They got where I was. I actually hired an attorney to say, what am I worth?
Right.
And he told me, and I went back to my boss. I said, this is what I'm worth. And I think the other person's making more. And he agreed with me 1,000%, and they took care of it.
Well,
so sometimes it's about speaking up, too.
It is. And that's, I think, what the women, or at least my understanding of what I read, they wanted to make this again, bring light to the darkness and say, this is an issue you need to talk about. It is not right. You have the right to discuss this. You have the right to be treated with respect. If there's a reason why I'm not making the same as another attorney in the office, is it because he brings in more business?
Yeah, what's the reason behind that?
There has to be a reason that's something more than, well, you are a woman and you may leave to have babies, and he's probably going to stay here.
And why is
that's not okay. That's not an okay reason.
Okay, and we got to go. But why isn't that valued? If you really understood that a woman goes out and works 9 to 5, and I fed the kids, and I fed your butt, I'm doing all of that, and you can't have a baby, by the way. We're going to close with that.
Okay. Again, it's just bringing light to the darkness. That's what these movements do.
Okay, well, Jackie Bowman Ponder, president of the board of Beacon of Hope Crisis Center, thanks so much for bringing us into the light here on
Thank you so much.
TV40. And we'll come back here in just a few minutes. We'll be talking about the smoking cessation plan from the Indiana Black Expo next.
Last year, Habitat for Missions flipped houses to build a trade school in Uganda for orphans, to expand another school in India for little girls that were at risk of industrial or sexual slavery. Right now, we are in the process of doing a build specifically for a group called Beyond the Storm, a disaster relief organization here in the U.S. We have in the past raised money for missionary doctors, for Bible college professors, for church planters on every continent of the world except Antarctica, and we're ready to do more. We've had inquiries from missionaries in Russia just recently, another one serving in Zambia, and all we're doing is looking for more homes that we can put our tradesmen to work to renovate them, to sell those homes so that we can continue to donate money to Christian mission. So if you're interested in selling a house, please contact us.
$150 over $90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
And we're back here on Inside Indy, and we have a question for you. Are you ready to quit smoking? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, and we have a way for you to do that. We have a couple of people in the studio, one who has done it and one who's going to tell you how to do it. And here to tell you how to do it is Edward Rogers. You are Tobacco Prevention Coordinator for Indiana Black Expo. Welcome to Inside Indy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then we have Kathie Warfield, who is a former smoker, right?
Correct.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Wow, tell us your journey, Kathie, and how you did it.
Well, actually, I have stopped smoking a couple of times. The first time I stopped, and I didn't smoke no more for about 20 years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was about 20 years, and I experienced some tragedy in my family, and I started back. And I smoked up until I got in the program, and I got sick in between there. And then also I had kids and grandchildren that I really didn't want to smoke in front of. And they hated it, and so I really wanted to see them grow up and be something, and I knew if I kept smoking cigarettes, I wasn't going to see that. So I decided to quit.
For once and for all. Do you think those times before when you quit help you to finally quit? It kind of prepared you for the long haul?
Yes, I think so. I think so. As a teenager, when I was coming up and I had friends that smoked and we was in school and stuff, I really, at that time, couldn't understand why they did it. And then after I got to the working there, when I started working, I started it.
So what made you start?
I really don't know. I couldn't answer that question. I don't know.
Did it fill a void, or do you think it was just
I think the
because it's
second
cool?
time it was nerve. I mean, as I said, I experienced a tragic death with two of my brothers, and that kind of brought me back around to the smoking. But before, when I quit, it was, as I said, because of my kids, my grandkids, and my grandfather, which I had brought here from Nashville to take care of, and I knew I couldn't smoke in the house with him. So I had quit way before that, and then I worked at IU Hospital when it went smoke-free, and I was actually down on the second floor where I worked at, and you could cut through there to go down outside and smoke. So when they went smoke-free, you know, everybody was cutting through my area, going down there smoking, and then we'd go outside and they built a little tent. And one day I was out there and I got to thinking, I said, no, I'm out here risking my life, my job, just to smoke a cigarette. So I quit then, and that's when I stopped for 20 years.
Wow, wow. So how did the tobacco prevention cessation program help you, and how did you find them?
My doctor referred me to them. As I said, I got sick, and he suggested that told me that I had a stroke. And he told me the downs about the cigarettes and the stroke and my heart as well. And I just decided then that I needed to help doing it. The first time I didn't, I just quit on my own. But the second time it was harder. I couldn't do it like that. And I think it was because I had experienced so much tragedy, plus my own health. And then, as I said, I wanted to see my grandkids grow up and make something out of themselves. So I said, well, Lord, you done led me this far. You know, I'm going to go ahead.
Okay, and do right by him.
Yeah.
Amen, amen. So now tell us, Edward, how the tobacco prevention program works and how other people who are sitting here watching Kathie and they go, you know, maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
You say what?
So as a tobacco prevention coordinator, one of the things that I do is go around the community and provide outreach, awareness, and education. You know, what we like to do is try to prevent users from picking up tobacco and prevent youth from using tobacco. And then those who are a tobacco user, you know, we try to help them break from their addiction. And we help them by referring them to the 1-800-QUIT NOW line. And so I believe that's what you used as well to help you quit your addiction.
Yes.
So yes, so if anybody who is struggling to quit using tobacco, they can go to 1-800-QUIT NOW. They dial that number and they will be referred to a quit coach, and that quit coach will give them the resources and go through the proper steps in helping them fight their addiction.
Okay, and that's the key word there, addiction. And addiction's beating them. That's not always easy to do.
No.
So what helped you over the hump, so to speak, Kathie?
The program, the Quit to Smoke program, I think it helped me a whole lot. It really did. It helped me. Then they put me, I was on the patch too.
Oh, okay.
I was coming with the program, and they called me. It was kind of like I had to quit because they wasn't going to back up until I did. And I appreciate it. I really do. I'm glad I wouldn't be sitting here today, maybe, had I not 2 years ago.
So a little bit of accountability helped?
Yes.
A little bit of that. Okay. Okay. So can you tell us more about what she went through, Edward, in terms of when she made that call? What are some of the steps that happened after that?
Yeah. So when you initially make that call, you're designated a quit coach, and that quit coach, he or she will continue to work with you. And again, all the information that you give them is confidential and secured. So anything that you express to them or illustrate to them, they will keep confidential. But with that, you will go through some steps, either through a phone call or through text message, whatever is convenient for you at that time. And then with those steps, they ask the probing questions. You know, how long you've been smoking. You know, what was the reasons why you started smoking, and just continue to keep coaching you through the week-long program.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So, wow.
Yeah, they sure did. They call and text me both.
Okay. So
and I'm still glad.
How can people do just what Kathie did and become a part of the tobacco prevention program?
So you can call 1-800-QUIT NOW, and that's just simply dialing 1-800-QUIT NOW. Or you can go to our website, Indiana Black Expo / Indiana Tobacco Prevention, and find more information about our Matters of the Heart campaign that we have going on. Because with our Matters of the Heart campaign, it shows that the real stories and the real truth that families go through and an individual who is using tobacco may go through, whether it's the struggle, whether it's death or loss, or just a common sickness due to tobacco. You know, our campaign, we try to highlight and try to illustrate these stories like Catherine's to hopefully make an impact and hopefully help somebody quit their addiction.
Okay, so we'll close out with Kathie, your words of advice to people who are watching, and they have not quit yet, but they've just heard your testimony. What would you say to them?
To get with the program, to quit the smoke program if they can't do it on their own. I mean, some people just can't, and I just think the program was great for me, and I think it would be great for someone else to try it too, at least try it. Yeah.
You heard it from Kathie Warfield and Edward Rogers of the Tobacco Prevention Program, and she's a successful non-smoker. You heard her. Get with the program. And we're ending the program here on Inside Indy. Thank you so much both for coming in. And I'm your host, Kelly Vaughn, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.